Hey, everybody, welcome to What the Flick. UnREAL, 2 episodes today, 7 and 8, Ambush and Fugitive. Yes. Grace, Alonso. So, yeah, stuff's been happening. And I've seen some pieces that are implying that the show is going off the rails, but I think that the show knows that what Coleman and Rachel think is smart, race-examining television is in fact ridiculous or dangerous or, like not particularly deep. So I think I think UnREAL knows what's wrong with Everlasting.
Yeah, and I also think that they do show a good job of, Coleman and Rachel sort of stay in your lane. This isn't really, you're running Everlasting. You are not the people that should be running a national narrative about race relations.
Yeah.
What do you know about doing that? Just do your romance show. And Quinn gets that.
Yeah.
Quinn very clearly gets that. And then you see Rachel try and branch out and get political, and she's punished for it. The show punishes her hard, as they do with anyone who kind of tries to.
Yeah, but I mean, she does something that is like genuinely dangerous, and it's like you don't put people in that situation. You don't put 2 black men in a car with, and then have the cop show up.
Right.
That's like, that's fraught.
But it was their decision to take the car, and then just to see Rachel have this, opportunistic, switch, like this is going to be amazing, is seedy and gross, and you kind of see Coleman understand who Rachel is, I think, a little bit more, that she has this dark underside to her that maybe he didn't believe before, and he is starting to believe it now in these past 2 episodes.
Yeah. So we're finally, so Yael has finally shown her cards.
Yeah, that was kind of a duh moment.
Yeah, we all saw it coming by this point.
I'm a reporter. No.
No. What?
Yeah.
So yeah, but what's making that interesting now, of course, is her collusion with Coleman, and apparently his collusion with her.
And her information from Jeremy.
Yes, right.
She knows too much.
If they didn't want to take Jeremy to the police because he knew where the bodies are buried. Well, he's been sharing that information anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't help anything. And then we also are seeing Quinn. I've really liked her these past 2 episodes. Having to show this lighter side to herself.
Right.
She's falling in love. They're talking about kids. And it seems genuine. I don't know how you feel about it. It seems like a genuine love.
I think so. I feel like these are both people who are kind of coming at this very clear about who they are and who the other person is, which is, I think, certainly not the case with her relationship with Chet.
Yes.
And now Chet is feeling competitive, and he thinks if he can become like an NFL franchise part owner or something, that's going to show that he's an entrepreneur too, I
don't really understand what the writers are doing with Chet this season, because it seems like they started off with a very clear direction for this character, and recently, like you brought up with the NFL part owner thing, I just don't understand what his motivations are.
Yeah, the Iron John thing seems not to have lasted very much,
right.
and so now he's just sort of trying to, because there's that line where Quinn tells him, no, if you were like John Booth, you would have already been like him, and you're not, and so now he's trying to desperately catch up and, be more the thing that he thinks he can be or that she wants. And
speaking of desperate, he hooks up with Tiffany, and then she has that, very Lifetime line about, I had daddy issues or something like that. That was weird.
Yeah, probably not the first, contestant that Chet has taken back to the trailer, I'm sure, but and so then there's the whole drama of, then after the car incident where Darius is gone, and then they try and go Survivor and have the people vote each other off, and everybody sides against Tiffany, but Tiffany winds up getting rescued anyway because they need to keep her in. Yeah. That was kind of a big moment for again, another would never happen on a show like this moment,
right?
Because everything is so scripted that Darius bursts in. No, I choose. You know. You're going home, most random character.
And then also most random character. And then also, we should probably talk about Adam. His return.
Yes.
What did that leave? Because I'm still confused with what that purpose was. You predicted it from the beginning, though, that he was going to.
No. At the beginning, I was thinking that wasn't going to happen. I think Ben got that one.
Oh, okay.
I think he's there for Quinn to stir up shit between Rachel and Coleman, obviously, and also to sort of remind, I think also to let Coleman know, look, every season, you know, there's somebody. There was Jeremy, there was Adam. Like there's somebody on the show that she sort of fixates on and like makes big plans with, and then it doesn't happen. You know, he clearly seems to still be into her. You know, but I don't think the show is particularly interested in sending her off with him. Clearly, so that's not going to go anywhere. And then of course Rachel's mother. That finally, those chickens come home to roost, and that's a fucking doozy.
Spawn of Satan.
Yeah, like we knew she was bad news. We knew there was something creepy about her controlling.
Yeah, that they hadn't really clarified, but people seem to know. Rachel certainly made it very clear, and Quinn, other people that had been in her life, that this was a bad person.
Yeah, and when the mother's saying stuff like, well, if people find out, no one will love you, you're like, oh God, A, that's like such a super toxic thing to say, and B, what's the thing?
Right.
And so now we know what the thing is. And it also puts the Jeremy incident into new context.
Right.
In that she's already a rape survivor.
Right.
And now facing this physical assault again. It's like,
she's already a rape survivor, and then that was, covered up.
Yes.
And so
and now
to
it's been
have
covered
it
up
happen with Jeremy.
with the parental units of Chet and Quinn, you know.
Right, with her, basically her surrogate parents, you know. It just puts everything into context why Rachel is so out of control. But my question for you is, does it forgive what she did to Darius and Romeo? I don't think so.
No, and
it's just giving context for why she's terrible.
Yeah, I don't think we're meant to. I think that that's what I like about this show is that the character, I think Rachel and Quinn are the closest we've gotten to, except maybe Claire Underwood, women who get to behave like Don Draper, who get to behave like Walter White or whatever, the difficult men. They do bad things, and they do it for a reason, and they're good at it, and we don't necessarily have to always like them, but it's interesting to watch them do this stuff and get into whatever spiral they're going to get into. But they have fucked up Darius's life for sure. And
to see him with the cane now, but I will say, super happy that my girl Ruby came back.
That was a treat. Yes,
I know,
and that she's smart enough to be like, "What? You want me to do this?
Yeah.
Screw you! You humiliated me on television."
But they still have that connection. I think you can still see that she does care for him, that she was truly in love with him,
Certainly.
And it's nice to see that connection outside of the world of Everlasting, which. Like you brought up before, cheeseball factor is at an all-time high because they have to make things work.
Yeah.
With his hat that he's wearing. Oh my gosh.
And Jay, I think, is now emerging as an interesting character where he's realizing, all right, I have eaten so much shit for this show and gotten nowhere with it. Like, I'm now going to at least try and make something that isn't completely reprehensible. I think the cop incident sort of pushed him over the line of like, I can't be party to this. I got to try and fix this and make this into something else.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see how they react, because I've always said that I felt like Jay was too smart for the role that he has accepted on the show. He's clearly, he knows the ins and outs. I've been waiting for him to step up. So I will look forward to seeing if he does that. And also, I want to see Darius win Ruby back. And I'm hoping that maybe he'll do something on national television. And I'm thinking maybe a good finale moment could
It's
be
possible,
there.
yeah. I mean, the whole thing is, obviously the show, Everlasting wants him to pick Tiffany at this point.
Yeah, and no one else does, I don't think.
No, I mean, there's a lot of pragmatic reasons for it, and certainly his pragmatism is the only reason he's there in the first place.
Right.
This is about leveraging his future career and stuff. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what wins out and what's more interesting. And that's the funny thing. Like, as cynical as this show should make us about, reality shows about romance, we still kind of want romance to win. Even the people working on it, like in their darker or in their lighter moments, are kind of like, oh, I was rooting for so and so. And meanwhile, what's her face? Pippi Longstocking is trying to be the new Madison, trying to be the new Rachel. It's not taking yet.
No, it's not. It's not working out at all. And
I loved Quinn's. You'll put your boss's dick in your mouth moment. Like, oh, we're not forgetting that then. Okay, good.
Yeah. And I can't say enough how I've really liked Quinn this season. I think that they've done the best job with her as far as really just taking a character that we thought we knew from the first season and just giving her a whole new spin, really developing her. And I like that she had this moment with Rachel's mother. You finally see the two maternal figures in Rachel's life for, doing the best that Quinn can to stand up for Rachel, and then you just have Rachel's mother say, you're not her mother. Just shoot that down.
Yeah.
And we know that Quinn's already struggling with children. She's been having that conversation, and just that's been on her brain. And then just to have Rachel's mother being like, not even Rachel, like you have no like childlike figures in your life.
Right.
Like, you are alone.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that this is it is ballsy for a show created by white people to talk about the fact that white people shouldn't try to make television about black people.
Right.
Or to try and make shows that explain race or that, illuminate race, because they're only going to get people hurt.
Yeah, literally, it will only get people hurt. And I think they did it in a really effective way, but bold, for
Very
sure.
much so, yeah. So 2 episodes left, and the pattern of a lot of TV of late is that next to last episode is where shit gets really crazy, and then they kind of mop up in the finale. So
let's hope they mop up.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on here. So, all right, we'll be back next week. Please join us.